develop our relationship between us and Hashem. That Hashem cuts off us from everything else in the world. We come into the sukkah, we leave everything else behind. And in this place, we're able to really focus on just our relationship between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Derech Hashem says that when Bnei Yisrael came out and they were in the Midbar and they were surrounded by the Anani HaKavod, the Anani HaKavod wasn't just a way to separate them and elevate them physically, but it was a way to keep them in a separate place in Ruchnius so that they would be in a position to accept on themselves and be able to grow in the way that Hashem wanted them to, and not to be held down by the rest of the world. They didn't have the connection to the rest of the world, and therefore they weren't held down by it. This, then, he says, is what we do every sukkah. We come into the sukkah, and we surround ourselves with it, and it creates a place for us to be with just Hashem. That we don't take in all the other stuff of the rest of the world, it's just a place for us for Ruchnius. And it's not just on sukkahs, it's not just the sukkah itself which brings out this point. The Medrash says that when two people come out of a din, and you don't know who won, you can look to tell who the one who came out victorious was, because he'll be holding what some of the Maharshim describe as a lulav. He'll be holding a lulav, and that was the symbol to show that they're the ones who won. And in a sense, what we did on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is we went into a din Torah with the rest of the world, because we, at one point, earned for ourselves the right to be considered a separate people, a people unique unto Hashem that nobody else can touch. We have a role that nobody else has. And Bnei Yisrael has to keep themselves at that level in order to maintain themselves as the ones whom Hashem chooses for himself alone. So on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, when we go through this, we are trying to show that we still are the ones. We still have remained at that level, and we still deserve to be who we are. So when the other nations claim that it's not just us, it's not fair, it's the rest of the world, Hashem is Hashem to everybody, there's no reason for us to have a unique relationship, that's what we go through on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And it's here, now on Sukkot, that we hold up our lulav and we show that, yes, we are the ones who Hashem has chosen. We are the ones who have a unique relationship, and we are the ones who are able to develop this closeness to Him. Within the people in Bnei Yisrael, what symbolizes that separation more than anything else? The Bris. The Bris is the quintessential sign of the difference between Bnei Yisrael and everybody else. We mark it on our bodies. It is a way of showing that we set ourselves and everything that we have in this world, and we have set it aside, and we aim it towards serving Hashem. Unlike anybody else. We are the ones who have taken everything we have and dedicated it to Hashem. There is no other way to do this. It's not like you can say, well, look, I won't get a bris, and instead I'll be like a great person. That's not how to do it. By Avram Avinu, when Avram Avinu was 99 years old, Rav Shamshon Paul Hirsch says, look, this is the person who you would think above anybody else in the world. This is the person who has gained shleimus. He has lived his entire life the way that Hashem wants him to live. What more can he do? And Hashem says no. Hashem says you have to get a bris, and then you can be tamid. It's the bris which does it more than anything else. And without the bris, you can't get it. The bris is something which blocks you from getting it, which is why Avram Avinu, who was able to discover and uncover for himself all of the mitzvahs and all of the meanings of the mitzvahs, why did he have to be told about bris? How come he didn't have to be told about any other mitzvah? How come he was just intuitively able to understand what it means to do the other mitzvahs? So the Klei Chemda explains that it is the fact that he had the Arla blocking the bris, which made it that part of himself wasn't able to feel Hashem. There was a block. You can't be close to Hashem if you're blocked in that way. When we get the bris, we show that we're completely, there's no blocks between us and Hashem. It's just closeness. We want to be as close as possible to Him, and we want nothing to stand between us. When we say we want to be separate for Hashem, one of the things that we mean is like in the pasuk in Hazinu when it says Yizovavenu Yevonenu Yitzrenu Ki Ishon Eino. The Aruch Chaim over there says that when Hashem separated Bnei Yisrael by giving us the Torah, He made us something different. We are something that is unique. We have a life that's different than the life of everything else that exists in this world because it's aimed in a different direction. And just like the eye, you cannot stand to have a finger come into your eye. It's just, it doesn't go together. It's not possible. It's painful. It's the exact opposite. You can't put something like that. It's dirty and it doesn't belong there. So when you have a life that you've dedicated to Ruchnius and you've separated yourself for this particular way of living, you cannot mix it with something else. You cannot have your Gashmias and everything else. If you aim it in the correct way and you turn it into a Ruchnius, then that's fine. You can turn it into that life. But if not, you can't accept it. Your way of living is not like the rest of the way of living. You have become separate for Hashem. And just figure it's a little bit appropriate that here we are on Sukkot, that we make the bris, that we come into this idea of separation for Hashem in order to develop a relationship to Hashem in this atmosphere, in the Sukkah, where we are separated from everything else. And I think it's Baruch Hashem, it's very befitting that in this place, in this separate space, that we are able to make this bris, and we daven that this should be a beginning, this should be the start, and for Eliezer Shlomo, we daven that this should be the beginning of a life that he grows, and that he aims in the right direction, and that he only continues to grow, and that he continues to live in the life the way that Hashem wants him to live. And like the Sefer Achinov says, that it's not just, why do we make a bris? How come we weren't just born with a bris? Why do we have to do it ourselves? And like the Medrash says, that it's something that we do ourselves. We do the completion. And the Chinuch says that it's not just in our bodies. We do it in our bodies so that we can understand that it's also something that we do to our nefesh. We live in the proper way so that we can make ourselves complete in the way that Hashem wants us to live. And that's what we daven for our son. It's such a beautiful simcha, and I really, we don't know how to express our Karsatov for everybody who took part in it and helped make it and joined with us in it, but we want to try a little bit. First of all, we have tremendous Karsatov to Hashem, who brought us here, not just here, but here in every sense. Like Rav Asher said, it's our third year. It's a little weird, but Baruch Hashem, it's been a life that we never really thought would happen when we got married. And everything that he did for us, everything that he does for us, continues to do for us, and we're just totally overwhelmed. And the more we look at it, the more we see it. And that's why we named our son Eliezer, because it's just something that every single day and every time we look back, we appreciate what it is that's been done for us and what it is that's enabled us to be here. In this particular instance, we want to thank a little bit the people that he's worked through in order to make us be in this place. First of all, we a little bit just want to thank the Kagans for helping us put this together. This is one of many things that we really feel that we owe them a tremendous hakaras. We can't thank them for all the kindnesses. We'll just try to make sure that your investments really pay off. We want to thank the Yarmishes for enabling us to be here to make this beautiful simcha. It's really amazing. I've never seen anything like this before. And to everybody who helped to make the simcha, to really make it what it is. It's such a beautiful thing for me and for my wife. Thank you so much to everybody. Also for the people who, over the past few days, it's been a little bit nuts to have a bris 8 days after you have a kid, and only one of those days is not Shabbos or Yontif or Erev something. But there were people who really gave everything of themselves so that we could be here. If not for them, I don't think we would have made it. We'd still probably be sitting on our bed saying, I don't know, what do you want to name it? But just to those people, to my mother, to Tuvia, to Sarah and Zahava and Ita, Kate, just all those people who really, they gave so much, and every day, and they just came in and asked what they could do, and they really enabled us to be here. Thank you very much. And to everybody, to the people in our building and the people in the neighborhood who came, they embraced our happiness like it was their own. They joined in our simcha, and we really appreciate it. Thank you. You make it a totally different type of simcha. We want to thank also Batya Tarko for making it all possible to begin with. And we want to thank our parents, of course, most of all, because now a little bit, I mean, after one you see it a little bit, I'm sure after the more you get, the more you understand, but we think a little bit we're understanding what it means that we appreciate you, that when we thank you with the same words now that we thank you 3 years ago, we understand that they're completely different words, and we now understand a little bit more what they mean. We're grateful for all that you've given us, and we hope to pass it on, Mirz Hashem, to our children and to their children and their grandchildren and everybody else, and make what you've put into us something that lasts and continues on forever. We also acknowledge that there are some people who couldn't be here, especially the Greens, my in-laws, Malka's parents, who also we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude, and if not for them, we really wouldn't be there. They helped make us into who we were, and for that we're very grateful. And of course we're acknowledging and are grateful to the people who are no longer with us, who cannot be here. We are the sum total of what they put into us. We love them and we miss them, and we are what we are because of them. Good morning. Mazel tov.